says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you loving is the one you loving?
This song goes out to all the soldiers on the battlefield in Montgomery. Here we go. If you go to Montgomery, you gonna mess around and find out. If you go to Montgomery, you gonna mess around and find out. Down by the river, go to Montgomery, you gonna mess around and find out. All you gotta do is hop off the riverboat, because Montgomery want all the smoke. Oh,
Yes. Oh my goodness. Wait, hold on. And live back, walk over, and live back. Come on, y'all.
Grab that chair,
Grab it
right over there.
over there.
Get that man,
Mm.
he's swimming fast.
Yes. All right. So this voice, first of all, she can sing her ass off, but apparently she also be making people laugh because she's an award-winning comedian as well. Military veterans. She got some things to say about chairs and things. Grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, one of our favorite places on the planet. Let me welcome the great Rita Brent to the
Good
Karaoke
afternoon.
Show. Hi.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I mean, when you walked over and limped back, I was like, who is that? We need to have her on and have a conversation because this is brilliant, just sheer genius. And I'm struggling. You know, we live in a world where we have to, I don't condone violence. And I just, we had old Marlon Wayans out there. I was like, dude, this is one moment in time where everybody else needs to have a seat somewhere, be quiet, sew up your lips. We're in solidarity around this issue that what you're
Yes.
not going to do is put your hands on one of our elders, period.
Yeah, no disclaimers, no excuses. It was self-defense, period. We saw the tape. Thankfully, somebody was recording. Otherwise, it would have been their word against his. So,
Well, if it were at night and there were no people around, melanated, we would have had the news report, a man was found in the river. We don't know what happened. His alcohol levels were, and it was just a tragedy. He was a respected man who was beloved by all, it might have been something like that.
yes. Yeah, he had marijuana in his system and ground beef, anything. He had deer meat in his system. That's why he bucked up at them. I mean, it could have been anything. They make up all kind of stuff. So, yeah, no disclaimers on that. I prayed to Nat Turner Jesus. I don't know if you saw that prayer, but I did send up a prayer.
Nat Turner Jesus. I feel like he's the same Jesus that I know. The Nat Turner Jesus. Walk us through though. A lot of people spend a lot of time, and I do want to put a disclaimer. We need that same energy for voting, for the banned books. The amount of we know we're creative enough to come up with all manner of things. Like I need us to tap into that for the things that are actually going to get us rights and property and equity and reparations. How about that?
Yeah, we have to put that energy in the right place. We're here in Mississippi. We had to keep that energy up to get the Confederate flag down. People like Senator Hillman Frazier. So, I mean, yeah, you're right about that. We have to keep using that energy for better reasons as well. But I will say that was a rejoicing day to see that man swim through that water to go help who I call Leotis. I don't know the man's name, but he looked like a Leotis. So
yeah, no, he did look like when he took the hat, put the hat back, I was like, oh, okay, look, he got to square up, and it was gonna be fair. But then 5 other people came. I was like, come on, y'all can't fight just a older man with a belly. Y'all need 5, 6. Wait, is it another person coming? Y'all must be out your damn minds. Yes, it was ridiculous watching.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But I was glad that it was self-defense, because Attorney Ben Crump was gonna have a whole slew of people on his roster, and he is already over the limit. I was like, oh, there are not any more civil rights attorneys. Everybody and their mama called Ben Crump. I have
thoughts on that.
Civil rights attorneys.
We're gonna save that for another day. Rita Brent is here. So what? So you watched it and then you came up with the song, like, because I know you do these things. Yes. Did the words just come from the ancestors? Like how did you put it all together?
Well, I woke up to a couple requests asking me to send up a prayer, because whenever it's something wild, I'll send up a prayer to a specific Jesus. So for Trump, it was impeachment Jesus. I prayed to Lysol Jesus when the COVID first hit. And in this particular situation, I said, well, this is a Nat Turner Jesus situation. So I sent up the prayer. And then I said, well, this is not enough. I need some music. I'm a churchy person. My mother is a church musician and a minister. I'm a former church musician. And so I'm always going to go churchy when I'm doing music. And yeah, I just thought that would be a good contribution. I mean, everybody has had their own take and their own responses to this. But to me, music is always the most effective. So that's why I decided to do that little quartet song.
And then you had your own harmony, and then you walked over and then you limped back. That refrain, it just came to you.
I'm a huge fan of Nutty Professor, so I'll never forget when that lady said you walked over but you limped back, and I said, you know what, that's exactly what happened. They ran over though. That first guy who attacked Uncle Leotis, he ran over, and he's gonna regret that because he did limp back. So yeah, they won't do that no more.
Well, somebody said they called yesterday and said people the races are quiet in Florida. I was like, they just regrouping. I don't know where we are right now. I do know we're in a period of time in history that's going to be talked about for hundreds of years, thousands of years. We're in a period of time that we're living through. We get to live through history, good, bad, and ugly. There's a lot of things happening at the same time. I don't know how this is going to end either. So in your prayer and supplications, what messages, what are they saying, what are the ancestors saying to you how this is going to end?
They, like I said, keep that same energy. A lot of people have been using this word solidarity, and I just want to echo what you were saying. If we would keep this same energy at the voting polls, and not even federally, on a local level, because that's where a lot of the laws changing and things like that start. What's going on in your own neighborhoods? So I mean, if we could keep that same. Luckily there were no casualties, because this could be a completely different conversation. But yeah, the ancestors are telling us, first of all, from now on, that's how we protect our own, because sometimes we just bystanders, we're afraid to step in. I'm just thinking about all the various cases where if some of us had stepped in, some Black folks might still be alive, So yeah, I think that solidarity is important for sure.
I just had a conversation with Dr. Bernice King, and, I struggle with, first of all, the responsibility of where we are. And I don't think we're in the 50s and 60s. And, and I'm listening to Radical Equations and listening to Robert Moses's story of, going down to lunch counters and get spat upon and beat up. And then the next round of people come and they get spat upon and beat up. And I think, had they fought back, would so many people have died? Would Schwerner, Goodman, and Cheney been in that grave, and Matil? Maybe there would have been some, you're in Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
But then I know that the numbers aren't that. Like, I feel like we are underestimating, because most of us live in predominantly Black spaces, because the country is completely segregated. Mm-hmm. For the most part, you live in the blackest city in our union, Jackson, Mississippi's got more Black people than any place per capita. Texas has the most numbers. As we look at that, though, like that fight that they want, because I think they want a race war. So I'm just like, do we?
That's what it felt
self-defense
like.
is one thing. So what do you see coming down the pike?
I am a little nervous, though. I don't think those folks are going to go down without a fight. And I have always thought about that, because we talk about wanting a race war. I've heard people saying that we need to engage in another civil war. And I'm just wondering if Black people are even equipped for that fight, because I'm looking at their arsenals and the weaponry that they have. We don't have that. And they also have many policemen on their side. If we're talking about history in Mississippi, you had the White Citizens Council. A lot of them were in cahoots with the police to commit some of these atrocious acts against Black people. So I don't necessarily think we want to engage in a violent civil war with white people, but when there are opportunities for solidarity like that, I do support that. And I just hosted the Medgar Evers Institute Gala, where we were commemorating the 60th anniversary of Medgar Evers' death. And something stuck with me that Myrlie Evers said. She said that she was still angry about what happened to her husband, Medgar Evers, but she's fueling that anger through activism. So I think that's important to keep in mind as well. Not just things that are vain and on the surface. Fuel it for the right purpose.
Yeah. fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you're lusting is the one